everybody. It's been a while. I kind of took a little bit of a break because we had some nice spring weather and I just wanted to get outdoors. So I'm back and I have kind of a stream of consciousness video for you today. What I decided to do, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is I want to really be able to unpack or explain what it means when we say so often doing the work, or we need to, as we do the work in the spiritual awakening journey, or as we heal ourselves. And then we kind of just leave that, assuming everybody knows what that means. Well, what I reflected on is I didn't have a clue what that meant when I first started my journey. And it was very confusing to me. I thought healing, I'm not kidding you, I thought healing meant anything physical, broken bones, scratches, that kind of thing, healing our physical body. I had no clue. About the inner self and whatnot. So I started thinking about this, and all of a sudden, two times this happened where I ended up with a list that I'm going to share with you, where a stream of consciousness just came through me, and I just wrote. Some of the things I'm going to share with you today might be a little bit of a repeat, but it'll be framed somewhat differently. But I think that's good. It's not an exhaustive list. It's what I came up with, and I think we could all add to it. But what I want to do today is really get to the foundation of this awakening journey and what it means when we all talk about, well, you got to do the work, or it's about healing, you got to heal. So I'm outlining, I don't know how many, I think there are probably a couple dozen, and I'm just going to whip through them pretty quickly. I'm not going to spend time, and that's hard for me because I could unpack each of those and then we'd have a 5-hour video, but I'm not going to do that. I think what I will do potentially is come back to this and start talking about some of the pieces of this. But I really want to get kind of, what I'll just say, back to the basics, particularly for people who are new to the journey. And hopefully this will help everybody in some way. And you'll be able to, those of you who've been doing this journey for a while, will be able to revisit some of the things that I bring up in this video. So I hope it's helpful. So I'm Carolyn Zaiser. I'm a channel, I'm a distance energy healer, and I'm a spiritual awakening mentor. For those of you who don't know me, I welcome you to my channel. I hope you will like, share, and subscribe. It helps me reach more people, and that's really my intent, is to reach a broad audience of people who can potentially use this for their own awakening, ascension, and life journey. So thank you so much for being here today. So I guess one thing before we get started, down in the description box below, you're going to find a link to my email list, where basically what I use it for is to send out a supportive email every week on a Friday. So if you want more support, you want angelic messages from the light keepers, because that's really where they do their poetry or their essays, and I present those out on my email list. So join with the link below. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to, before we get going into why I'm really doing this video, I was I'll just say kind of like an energy update, or more like kind of what's been going on. And of course, as we know, we're still in these eclipse energies. So it's not like it happens and then it's done, right? We had the full moon lunar eclipse, full lunar eclipse last Friday, I believe it was. Needless to say, it's not just that point in time where that energy is, and we've also had the previous full solar eclipse with a new moon. So we've been in those energies for the last few weeks. I am getting that this, as I connected in, I've had other people tell me, this lasts a while. What I'm getting is a through summer kind of thing. This is as I've talked in the videos, I'm not going to go through it again, it's a general upliftment for us. But the one thing I want you to know is what I've learned and I've seen in friends and clients. By the way, I hope you don't hear the lawnmower out here, because all of a sudden I decided to do my video and the industrial lawn mowing service decides to mow the condos across the street. So I apologize, but I'm just going to keep going. So needless to say, what I have seen in others, and it's also come through to me, is that this is all about, and they show volcanoes and they show earthquakes. It's all about shaking and quaking relationships, okay? Shift and change in relationships. And I'll bet you many of you have had this happen, like something has shifted, something has changed. This can be work relationships. I know some people who've lost their jobs, or who have decided to leave, or who are starting to build their new business. Those who have parted ways with people who are friends. I mean, this has happened all in the last couple weeks, and it's significant, okay? Again, this is the old earth, new earth kind of idea. It's the doing what serves you kind of idea. It's the vibrational difference. But this season right now is massive for that. So keep that in mind. And sometimes what happens is it's unexpected. All right, it's unexpected, but really deep in the heart of you, you knew it was coming. Okay, when you really sit with yourself, even though it can be shocking and surprising potentially to you as the human. So I just wanted to put that out there. I hope you're all doing well and really embracing these energies. Again, this is a time of always, as we know, taking care of yourself. Okay, so we're going to get to the list today of what it means. And again, this is my stream of consciousness, and I don't know whether they'll kick in on this one or not with extra words, but they kind of take us down a rabbit hole sometimes, so I don't know. And I don't want to make this too long. But point is we're going to talk about today what it means to actually do the work and to heal in the Spiritual Awakening Ascension Journey and in the life journey in general. But we become more consciously aware of this journey as we wake up. Okay, we're going to start with the list here. All right, I'm just going to whip through this without a ton of explanation and I know some of you may want more detail. I potentially will be coming back to this in the future. Okay. So again, framing this up, we are talking today about what it means to do the work. When we're going through the journey and people say, well, you just got to do the work, what does that even mean, right? What does that mean? Because it's really the foundation of everything moving forward. And without that frame of reference, it's hard. So, number one, and these are not in any particular order, freeing ourselves from what we've held inside. And I'm going through a list here. Freeing ourselves from what we've held inside. Emotions, actions we've taken or others have taken, feelings, judgment to self and others, past lives, current lives, all of this. It's freeing ourselves whether we know it's going to come up or not. Most of the time we don't recognize consciously all the things that will be coming up, but they will in the awakening journey. So freeing ourselves from what we've held inside. Traumas, emotions. It doesn't mean you have to go back through and live the whole thing again, but it will come up for awareness. And one thing I do want you to know is what many of us have found, me in particular too, since I'm the one doing these videos, I'm best frame of reference for myself, is as those old, I'll call traumas or things we've held inside come back up, yeah, they're there, but they're quickly gone. They don't run you through the whole trauma again. So I want you to know that because a lot of people turn around and run the other way when this starts. But it is a process filled with grace, and I want you to know that. Don't let that stop you. Okay, I'm already on a run and I'm explaining, so I just can't help myself, obviously. Okay, so that was freeing ourselves from what we've held inside. And again, there are processes for all of these, and we can unpack some of these later. Plus, I do this in my one-on-one mentoring and my individual sessions too. We talk about these things. We help you through that. So, okay, number two, we face the things that are presented to us and we no longer run from ourselves, okay? And this is a fine line we walk because sometimes we don't even know because we've been in such a patterned way of responding to ourselves and pushing things away. When the painful stuff comes up that maybe we don't even totally know and we're wondering what's going on, where's this coming from? We just shut it down and we keep doing what we're doing. Nope, that's not what we do in this journey. That's not what we do in this journey. And this stops a lot of people. So what I will say to you is we have to face the things presented to us and we no longer run from ourselves because ultimately this is an inner self-awareness journey. This is an inner journey. And then we manifest and create for outside of that. Once we have, I don't want to say once, it's kind of in tandem, but at the same time, we have to go through this process as the inner process during this journey. This is key, okay? Let's see. Well, and I said we face the things presented to us and we no longer run from ourselves, but this is deep, okay? This is deep. It may not be well understood. Also, recognizing that this is mostly inner work. This awakening journey is mostly inner work as we travel through it. And then what we do is we present our authentic selves, our true selves. Now, as we begin, or as we progress through the healing journey, as we progress through doing the work into the outside world to then manifest and create. Okay, that's kind of big picture perspective. Okay, the next one, we're able to learn and observe ourselves without being judgmental, which of course, as we're being judgmental to ourselves, creates more of what we're trying to heal. So this is all about really understanding our patterns and learning and observing ourselves and catching ourselves in those patterns. And that can take a while to even know we're in a pattern. Some of us who have sunk so deeply into just continue to judge ourselves and whatnot. We got to stop. We got to be aware. So it's learning to observe ourselves without being judgmental. Okay? So it's really you, the individual, and you, the observer. It's really creating that observer perspective and being able to do that without great emotion, judgment, berating, all of that to yourself. Okay? The next thing, looking at things we have done, things others have done to us that have formed who we are or constructed who we are today. So this is all about, like, how was I created? This persona of Carolyn, for example. What created me? Is it real and true? So you're really peeling back the layers to get to the true you, the true self versus the constructed self. And that, some of us can be very aware of what we wish we could be, want to be, have been, but we haven't. We've been constructed, whether it's through, familial systems, religious systems, political systems. It goes on and on. All the systems, all the things, all the belief structures, all the things that do this to us and mold us into this persona, right? And then the inner self can, to one degree or another, get squashed, so we don't know our true self. Okay. The next one, finding the learning and going deep. Finding the learning and going deep. So this is about, and it's like what they just said, fine-tooth comb. Yep. This is not a cursory overview of these things. We have a tendency, especially when we're in a rushed state of living our lives, to just go, oh, that's just a thing that, I'm not going to feel that. That's not a big deal. We can't do that in this journey. This is a slowing the process down. This is really being able to become aware and then taking that awareness, going deep, finding that learning, and then being able to spend time with it. That's how we get to the things that we aren't consciously aware of, because that's the bigger part of this. Is a lot of it, many of us may think, oh, I don't have anything to deal with. Well, yeah, we do. And the thing is, it's because we're not consciously aware of our patterns. Okay? So those will come up. The universe will present them to you in some way until you figure out you have a pattern, until you figure out what the journey is. And again, I still say it's done with grace. Doesn't mean it's easy, but it's done with grace. And it is so worth it. Okay? So remember, I've seen a lot of people start the journey off and be all excited, and they're getting angel numbers and messages and all this, and then the hard stuff starts, the inner journey. And I have seen, and you want to be aware of this, a lot of people turn a blind eye and go, I'm not doing this. Then some people I know have said, no, I'm not doing this. I thought this was all just love and light, and I was just going to, have angels around me all the time. Well, you do, but the point is this is a learning journey, okay? Okay, where am I? Finding learning, going deep. I said, okay, so also the next one with respect to what does healing mean and what does doing the work mean, it's becoming consciously aware of what is being presented to us and not turning a blind eye. Again, that's similar to what I said earlier, but really consciously aware of oh, and again, it's that observer going, oh, okay. Oh, wow, this is something here I need to really think about or be aware of or watch for in the future. How does it make me feel? So the next one is, this is a biggie, learning to let go of fear. Because fear in all its various personalities, I'll say, is what holds us back from healing, or can hold us back from healing. Okay, it keeps us in our constructed place, like that false self. So fear is a heavy energy that keeps us from moving forward. And honestly, lots of times the reason people in their early journey stop and don't go any further is because of fear of what they're going to find and what they're going to learn. And ultimately, remember, you're worthy. It doesn't matter. This is all a learning journey. Your core self, you're worthy. You are worthy of this. So again, really letting go of fear in all aspects. And I think that fear is one of the biggest journeys we have. I told you about myself. I'm like, oh, I've said all along, I'm pretty fearless. Well, am I? No, not with the things that have happened. And I won't go through it again. The videos I've done for myself, I wasn't fearless. For some things, yes. Other things, absolutely not. So again, this is the ability to be, I don't want to say self-critical because those aren't the right words, but that's just kind of how I'm saying it right now. Being able to be self-aware and being able to identify and go, oh, okay, yeah, that little egoic part of me that said, I don't have fear. Well, guess what? The universe said, oh yeah, you do, and we're going to show you where it is, and then we're going to help you. We're going to help you work through this. Because remember, you always have your support team, and that's another one I'm going to hit on. Okay, I don't know if we're going to get through all these, but I'm going to try. And I guess you can stop wherever you want on the video and not continue or come back to it later. Okay, so another one is as you do this work, that peeling back, it then allows us to become who we've always been, okay? Who we know we are without the continued judgment and berating of ourselves and the not belonging and all of that like stuff that's pulled us into this constructed self, okay? So again, it really allows us to open up to who we truly are, but it's not without the process of discovery, the deep digging. Now they're showing archaeology. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Like an archaeologist digging for the gold. It's true. It's true, right? Okay, the next one with respect to understanding what healing means and what doing the work means in the spiritual journey, focusing on what comes our way, not pushing it away, similar to what we talked about before. Focusing on what comes our way. Don't push it away. Don't just do this. It's real hard because we've gotten into patterns of just moving on in our journey. And when we're too rushed in our day, guess what? All these things happen and we just go, and again, this can also tell you a lot about yourself. For people who are like, no, I don't want to spend time with myself. I don't want to, I just need to keep busy all the time. Well, therein lies a clue to what's happening for you, right? Like, okay, wait. I'm talking to myself, telling myself, keeping myself far too busy. I can't learn. I don't have space to open up to the learning and understanding, let alone the healing, the awareness, right? So if you're in a pattern and a cycle of just, no, I keep myself busy all the time. I don't take any time for myself. That's a red flag, okay? Especially in the spiritual journey, okay? Let's see, where am I? Oh, we take responsibility for our healing growth. We identify, we understand, and then we make the shift, okay? So it's really taking responsibility. Who else is going to do it for you? No one. No one. Yeah, they're going to present things to you for healing and growth, but this is what we have to embrace on our own. So taking responsibility, identifying what the growth is, understanding it best we can, and then making the shift. Okay, the next one. When the hard stuff comes, you keep going. But you also use your resources in your toolbox that you've created, okay? We talked about the toolbox, self-care, all that. But you reach out to others. You get help. You go to, whether it's a counselor or not, or a spiritual counselor, someone who understands this journey, right? And so again, it's not a journey that we have to do alone. It is, and it's not meant to be. This is why we have the internet now, right? This is why I have this YouTube channel. So we have community. All right. Okay, the next one. Doing the healing and doing the work means, it really means as you're doing this, you're working on a parallel path with the universe, God, source, spirit, whatever you want to call the higher power. You're starting to work on this parallel pathway, and what that looks like, and again, this is also a repeat of some of my past videos, is, we're down here living our 3D material life, right? But as we go through the spiritual journey and we do the work we're talking about here, guess what? Because the universe, source, God, has a super high vibration, right? Wants to reach you, but if you're way down here, not any awareness at all, guess what? Look at the gap. So what happens is in this journey, and I've shown this before, is we start vibing higher, right? We start being able to reach the universe. The universe is able to start reaching us, and so then it turns into this, and it's this beautiful flow of integration, right? Okay, so that's the parallel path with the universe. Okay, so another example of what it means to heal or to do the work is we give ourselves grace and forgiveness. So many of us can't do that, right? But it's critical. And so we travel that journey of holding in that unforgiveness to ourselves. Because remember, We got to do this for ourselves before we can do it for others fully, right? We may think we're loving others and caring for others and all of that, but we project all our stuff out onto them in one way or another. So what I would say to you is this: giving ourselves grace and forgiveness in our journey is literally critical to being able to do that with others. And again, it flows. It's not just you got to do the whole thing first before you can do this, right? You'll see improvement. You'll start feeling better about things. So this is a mind, body, soul journey, as we've known. So there's all pieces to that mind, body, soul of how we do healing, or of what healing is and what doing the work means. I talk about a lot about that in the other videos that I've done, like how mind, body, soul, it's all part of the oneness of us. Also then, learning to choose what serves you. When we heal and we do the work, we learn to choose what serves us. It's not selfish. It's not self-centered. It's learning to choose what serves us, not continuing to give ourselves away. Because most of us have been externally constructed from all the belief systems and whatnot, and or from people in our life. And now it's about one degree or another, needing to start or continue choosing what serves you. Okay, we're getting close. Okay, all right. Learning to know what doesn't serve you. Okay, so learning to choose what serves you, learning to know what doesn't serve you, and then making the shift. So it's the opposite of, right? So you got to know first what serves you, but then you have to also understand what doesn't serve you, and you got to make that shift. And that isn't just all of a sudden that happens necessarily. Some people can do that, right? But this can be a journey over time to even be aware of these things as to what serves you. Okay, another part of this is being able to identify your triggers. Healing work, doing the work, is really identifying triggers, the patterns they create of your actions or your emotions, observing this, and then learning from them. So triggers are things that we get activated by, and you can feel it deep inside yourself because it evokes an emotion, and it's probably something patterned. Whether it be patterned because it's the one person that does this to you or one situation that does this to you over and over again, what we want to then do is take that and isolate that and go, wait a minute, where's that coming from? And most of us don't do that. We just go, oh, that's happening again, and then we respond in the same way, and that pattern continues and doesn't serve us. And then we know how that can happen, or what can happen from there is it can cause all other kinds of ripple effects. But needless to say, identifying what triggers you, okay? And then as you start doing that work of like, wait a minute, why does that trigger me? We do less of the like, oh, that's their fault. That's them. This is them. No, just start looking at it because it works. It really works. Start looking at it like, wait a minute, what is that getting at in me? What's the lesson in learning for me? So this is a big part of our healing journey and being able to, I'll just say, do the work. Okay, another part of this is being consciously aware. Like you become very self-aware. We start becoming self-aware. So that's key in doing healing and being able to do the work. All right, we become consciously aware. It's like I said, it's almost like there are two of you. There's this human doing their thing, right? Like the true self and the false self. And the false self isn't fully false, but it's constructed, okay? And we know that to one degree or another. And then this true self starts showing up and starts leading the way. So again, that's really the being self-aware, being very consciously aware. All right, the next one, identifying constructs and beliefs that created you, kind of the false you, not meaning you weren't supposed to experience that. I don't mean that all, but a lot of these things were just layered on us because it's just the way it was and the way it should be and the way all the shoulds, right? And then we take those on and they become a part of us, whether they're really true to us or not, right? So what we're really doing here is we're identifying the constructs and the beliefs that created us, all right? What I call the false self in some ways. And now really learning what's the true you? What is the true you? What is the true you? So that's a big part of what it means to heal and what it means to do the work. Okay, we got a few more here. Also, this is another thing. We stick with it. We don't abandon ourselves, our true selves that want to show up, right? We stick with it. Now, yeah, when I say take breaks, I'm not talking about self-care and, finding a half an afternoon to just, go wander in the woods. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we don't abandon this journey And I've seen it happen over and over again. And then some people kind of step back in, but then I've just we don't abandon ourselves, because it's ourselves that want, our true selves that want to shine and want to show up. We all have this work. There's not one person out there that doesn't have work to do to find our true self and then to show up as our true self, right? So again, we don't abandon ourselves and we stick with it even through the tough times. Remember, we have community, okay? We have community. So and as we do that, then the work, the true self starts to shine, and you really begin walking in one with the universe. And many of us have started to feel that through signs, synchronicities, and you start feeling this, and your life flows differently. All right, the learning also never ends. That's another thing. Keep that in mind. But it becomes more understandable in how you respond. It kind of, you have a toolbox that you know your patterns for. You have things that you can put around you that help you out, people, practices, self-care, all of that. So remember, the healing, what I will say, and the doing the work, it never ends. But don't let that dissuade you, because it does get, I'll just say, easier in many ways. We're deconstructing the false self. I already talked about that. Keep remembering you're not alone. I've said that earlier. And here's the other thing. When I say you're not alone, I don't just mean in human form. I'm talking in spirit form. We have a tendency to not even consider the fact that we can talk to our spirit team. You don't need to know their names. I mean, that's fine if you want to go figure that out. You do not need to know your names. In fact, their names. That actually is it allows more flow. It allows for an easier relationship, because they do change in and out, as I have understood. Oh, I just heard, yes, we do, because we have different things going on in our journey, and okay, they just said specialists, so others will pop in. We don't need to know that. They're part of a team that provides assistance to us. So call on your team. Create that relationship. That is part of this healing journey. That's part of doing the work, if you want the assistance, right, of creating that community. You're not alone. You're not alone. All right, the other biggie, and this was alluded to earlier, is learning to open our hearts to ourselves, because we have to do this first. Well, doesn't mean we have to do it first. We have to fully do this in order to fully be able to do this with others, okay? Which allows us then to give our heart fully to others. Because honestly, what's the problem now in the collective primarily is it's all this inner damage and trauma that is being projected out to others in humankind right now, which is why we see all the trauma, all the awful stuff happening, right? It's a lot of inner stuff, and it's also constructed stuff, belief systems, and all of that is being projected out to others, versus every single person doing this inner healing journey. Everything would look different if that would take place, where every person was able to do that. And eventually this is going to happen. I know it feels like forever and a day, but all you can do is take care of yourself, because every single person matters. And as you do this, your light begins to shine brighter, and you start activating others into their journey. So remember, if you think you're just working on yourself and it's just boring and it's like, that's all I'm doing, that's my purpose. No, the reason you're doing this is, yes, for yourself, but because you're connected to everyone else, and you spark in them their journey. I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it in my friends. And I know many of you have seen this as well. So understand that the work that you're doing now for yourself is also helping the collective. We are all one. All right. Also, the healing work, doing the work, is giving yourself praise, gratitude, and appreciation. Giving yourself a pat on the back. Giving yourself an afternoon off and hiking or whatever you love to do. Give yourself praise, gratitude, appreciation. Love yourself. Hug yourself. Talk to your body nicely. All those things are super important. And then also understanding and unwrapping all the constructed beliefs that we're not worthy, that we're sinners, that we're all of that, right? Learning we're worthy as we are. Learning we're worthy as we are. We're just doing an archaeology dig. That's what we're doing. We're trying to find our true self. And you will. You will. You stick with this journey. I promise you. I promise you. It is a lifelong journey. It doesn't end. It's a beautiful thing that is part of why we're here. Not part of why, is why we're here. And so kind of lastly, like I've said, this is a self-study. This is a self-study, which then affects yourself as well as everyone else. And so what we're doing is we're turning inward. We're bringing energy back to ourselves that we have projected out so long, whether it's we're overly busy, involved in 10,000 activities, and just we don't have time for ourselves, we work too much, all that stuff that we do, particularly in our Western societies, but kind of the whole world now, right? Kind of the whole world. We're stopping this and we're turning inward. We're bringing the energy back into ourselves. And we're reclaiming who we truly are and finding who we truly are consciously, probably as this incarnation for the first time. And this journey is so beautiful, but this is the journey of healing. This is a journey of being able to do the work. So what I hope I've done today is given you some frame of reference for what it means when we hear so often of, oh yeah, we have to do the work. Oh yeah, well, this is healing work. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? I'm sure many of you could add to this list, but again, I think I went through 32 items. So I hope a couple of these things, or many of these things, you can take on your journey and it will assist you forward. Again, maybe what we'll do in another video is break some of these down. I do that though. I have done that in my previous videos in many cases. But what I realized is, well, we talk about these things individually, but they all tie up into this idea of doing the work and healing. So with that today, I hope you've taken a few things away for your journey. Keep in mind, purplerainhealing.com is where I have all of my services, things like this, where I mentor you through to assist you forward on your awakening, ascension, and life journey, bringing through channeled information as well as practical guidance for your day-to-day, past, present, future. We are able to look at about anything you want in those sessions. So again, channeled information for you, single sessions, one-on-one mentoring over time, as well as distance energy healing. So with that today, I'm going to leave you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. And thank you so much for joining me. And I'll see you in the next video.